In the Navajo tradition, skinwalkers are said to be evil witches who have the ability to shapeshift into animals. Tonight, you will be treated with 3 scary stories centered around the legend of the Skinwalker. Welcome to the Freethinker Project, where curiosity knows no bounds and the boundaries between the mundane and the magical blur into obscurity. Here, we dare to question the unquestionable and explore the depths of human understanding. As you embark on this journey with us tonight, prepare to confront the darkness that lurks in the corners of your mind as we wander into the realms of witchcraft and the occult. But as we venture deeper into the darkness, heed this warning. The path we tread is not for the faint of heart. In the darkness, the veil between worlds grows thin. So, if you hunger for truth that defies convention, if you thirst for the forbidden knowledge that lies just beyond reach, then like and subscribe to our channel. And for those in search of mystical tools to aid them on their journey, visit our website, freethinkerproj.com, for a curated selection of witchcraft supplies. Welcome to the Freethinker Project, where the strange meets the mysterious and the journey to enlightenment begins. Story 1. The wind howled through the desolate canyons of the Navajo Nation as a group of friends huddled around a crackling campfire. They had been warned about the dangers of the desert at night. Tales of strange creatures lurking in the darkness, but they dismissed them as mere superstition. As the fire dwindled, casting long shadows that danced against the canyon walls, one of the friends, Jake, decided to entertain the group with a story he had heard from his grandmother, a story about the dreaded skinwalkers. According to his grandmother, skinwalkers were ancient witches who had forsaken their humanity in pursuit of dark powers. They roamed the desert under the cover of night, taking on the forms of animals to terrorize unsuspecting victims. As Jake spoke, the night seemed to grow colder, and the once familiar sounds of the desert became ominous whispers in the darkness. But the friends laughed off his tale, convinced it was nothing more than a bedtime story meant to scare children. Suddenly, a bone-chilling howl echoed through the canyon, freezing the blood in their veins. They looked around frantically, searching for the source of the sound, but all they saw was darkness. Then, out of the shadows, emerged a figure, its form twisted and contorted like a grotesque caricature of a human. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light as it stepped into the flickering firelight. The friends watched in horror as the creature transformed before their very eyes, its limbs elongating and twisting until it resembled a monstrous wolf, its fur matted with blood and grime. Paralyzed with fear, they could only watch as the skinwalker prowled around the campfire, its gaze fixated on them with an insatiable hunger. With a guttural growl, it lunged forward, its claws gleaming in the firelight. In a panic, the friends scrambled to their feet, desperate to escape the clutches of the creature. But no matter how fast they ran, the skinwalker was always one step behind, its unearthly howls echoing through the desert night. As dawn broke on the horizon, the friends stumbled upon a dusty trail leading out of the canyon, their bodies bruised and battered, their minds haunted by the memory of the creature that had hunted them in the darkness. From that day on, they never ventured into the desert at night again, for they knew that the legends of the skinwalkers were more than just stories. They were warnings whispered by the wind of the dangers that lurked in the shadows of the night. Story 2. In the heart of the Arizona desert, where the sun beat down relentlessly and the sand stretched for miles in every direction, a small town stood nestled against the harsh landscape. It was a place where legends whispered in the wind and shadows danced in the flickering light of the bonfire. One summer evening, a group of teenagers decided to explore the abandoned mine on the outskirts of town. They had heard rumors of strange sightings and eerie happenings in the old tunnels, but they dismissed them as the ramblings of superstitious locals. As they ventured deeper into the darkness, the air grew thick with the scent of dust and decay. The only sound was the echo of their footsteps against the damp walls of the mine. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the tunnel, freezing them in their tracks. They looked around, their hearts pounding in their chests, but they saw nothing in the shadows. Then, out of the darkness emerged a figure, its form twisted and contorted like something out of a nightmare. Its eyes glowed with an unearthly light as it stepped into the dim light of their lanterns. The teenagers watched in horror as the creature transformed before their eyes, its body shifting and contorting until it resembled a monstrous coyote, its fur bristling with menace. With a guttural snarl, it lunged forward, its claws gleaming in the dim light. The teenagers scrambled to their feet, their screams echoing off the walls of the mine as they ran for their lives. But no matter how fast they ran, the creature was always one step behind, its howls echoing through the darkness as it pursued them relentlessly. As they stumbled out of the mine, their bodies bruised and battered, they knew they had encountered something beyond their comprehension, something ancient and malevolent that lurked in the shadows of the desert. From that day on, they never spoke of their encounter, for they knew that some secrets were best left buried in the depths of the earth, where the shadows whispered of forgotten terrors and the wind carried the echoes of the past. Story 3. In the heart of a vast desert, under a sky so immense and starlit, it seemed to swallow the earth, there was a small town, a mere speck against the infinite sands and watching mountains that surrounded it. This town, known to its few inhabitants as Dry Creek, was a place where the boundaries between the known and the unknown, the natural and the supernatural, blurred under the relentless desert sun. Alice, a newcomer to Dry Creek, had moved there seeking the quiet of the desert, a place where her past could be forgotten and her future could begin anew. She found the town charming in its simplicity, with its sun-baked houses and the way the desert seemed to reclaim everything, from the abandoned mines to the long-forgotten cars left to rust under the persistent sun. However, Alice soon discovered that Dry Creek held secrets beneath its silent public image. The townspeople spoke in whispers to one another about the nights when the wind carried sounds that no human or animal could make, about shadows that moved with purpose in the moonlight, about the skinwalkers that lived in the hills surrounding the town. Curiosity, mixed with a touch of disbelief, led Alice to explore the desert one evening as the temperatures fell, and the sky took on the colors of a painting, while the sun hung lower and lower on the horizon. As she wandered further from the town, the silence of the desert closed in all around her. It was a silence so intense that it felt almost like it was a living being itself. And that's when she saw it, a figure, distant yet distinct against the fading light, its form shifting in ways that defied logic. It moved with eerie grace, One moment, a man, the next, a creature of the desert, blending seamlessly with the sand and the sagebrush. Frozen in place, Alice's heart pounded in her chest as the figure turned towards her, its eyes catching the last light of day and reflecting it back with a wraith-like glow. It stood there, watching her, as if gauging her, deciding her fate. In that moment, Alice realized the truth of the stories she had dismissed. The Skinwalker was real, and she was intruding upon its domain. The air grew heavy with the weight of her realization, and a primal fear took hold of her, urging her to flee. Turning on her heel, Alice ran back to Dry Creek, the sounds of the desert night now a loud racket in her ears. She did not look back, fearing what she might see, fearing that the Skinwalker might be just behind her, following her to the very edge of town. When she reached her home, she locked the door behind her, panting and shaken, her disbelief shattered by the encounter. The desert, she realized, was a living, breathing entity, filled with mysteries, ancient and formidable. Alice never ventured into the desert at night again, and in time, she became like the other townsfolk, speaking in low tones about the things that roamed the vast wilderness beyond Dry Creek. The desert had revealed its secret to her, a secret she now carried within her, a constant, haunting presence in the back of her mind. Dry Creek remained a small speck in the vast desert, a place where the line between the natural and the supernatural was as thin as the twilight that heralded the coming of the night.